Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel, and today we're looking at another Card Shark product that took some time to arrive because there was a mistake with my order. So you're going to see some new Card Shark product reviews going up on the channel because they were missing from my order, so I had to have them reshipped. So I know I did a Card Shark haul a few weeks back, but now you're going to get the last two products of that haul reviewed for you. And the first one of the two is Activity by Nikolas Mavresis. This is an effect that I believe it's available in one of his live lectures that he does with ALAKAZAM, I think in his ALAKAZAM Academy 2, maybe. So if you're familiar with that, that is this effect. If you're not familiar with this effect, since it wasn't really marketed a lot, then I'm happy to tell you it's very good, very fun, and that it may be for you. So let's roll the intro and get straight into discussing more about Activity. Perfect. So you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about Activity. So what is Activity? Activity is essentially a deck of cards that is made in kind of a charade type game where two cards are selected, they make a phrase, and you have to act it out and see if the other person can guess. But there's also a magic trick built into it that is very, very cool and very cute. I know it's hard to kind of describe the effect per se, but I think that looking at the performance that I'm going to give you, you're going to understand what this effect is a bit better. So let's get straight into the performance. So you would remove this deck of cards from your pocket, and you would show the people that this is of course a different deck than most because it has writings on every single card. Some of the cards have objects, nouns, some of them have verbs, actions, but you're going to get to that in a moment. So what you're going to tell someone is that they're going to have the free choice of any card, right? They're going to choose any card that they want, and you're going to turn around and they're going to just touch one. So they're just going to go and they're going to touch one card. Let's say they touch this one here. Okay, perfect. They're going to take a look at it. They're going to remember it. You got it? Okay. Let's just place it back somewhere inside of the deck. It's hard for me, right, because of the camera angle to make sure that everything doesn't flash because of how low the camera is. But yeah, so they selected a card, and now you tell them this is how the game is played. On the back of every red card, you placed a noun or an object. And on every black card, you actually placed a verb or an action. So for example, you have here different actions and different nouns that you can use. And some of them make more sense than the others, and some of them are more easy to act out than the rest. For example, something like kiss the door doesn't really make sense, right? And it would be difficult to act out to someone to kiss a door. Or however, something like fix the door makes sense, right? You could mime fixing the door. So some of these make sense, some of them don't, like blow the bike doesn't make sense, punch the ladder doesn't make sense. However, fix the lights makes sense, right? So you have different possibilities, and there's a ton of them. There's around 700 possibilities that you can make with the words and the combinations in a deck of cards. So you're going to ask one spectator to name your red card and one spectator to name your black card so that you make a sentence. So what card? Let's say 9 of spades and 3 of diamonds, right? So any card is possible. So let's go for the 9 of spades and 3 of diamonds. That 3 of diamonds and 9 of spades. 9 of spades, where is it? 9 of spades. There you go. So the 9 of spades and the 3 of diamonds. So free choices. And let's see what you got as you got open the box. The phrase that you made is open the box. And there's only one box here, right? I don't know if you can hear this, but inside of here there's a card from a different deck, a blue deck. And at the start, I don't know if you remember, you actually selected a card. What was it? The Queen of Clubs. And that is indeed the Queen of Clubs. So that is essentially a performance of Activity by Nikolas Mavresis, okay? So that is essentially what the effect is and how it would play out. So knowing that, where do you buy this? How much does it cost? And what do you get? So you can buy this at Card Shark. So it's available for 30 US dollars. I think it's the only place that I've seen it available. So Card Shark for 30 US dollars. And what you get is a few things. You get your typical Card Shark little sleeve with the effect that has the instructions that you have to sign into. The instructions are very, very short. They're 14 minutes long. They just tell you how the effect works because the effect is really, really simple. So he tells you how that works, and he tells you how to prepare the cards, and he gives you a PDF to give you ideas on what to put on every card, because you have to manually put all the adjectives, all the words, everything on the cards. You have to do that manually with a Sharpie. Okay? And they did that because they said that, you know, you do this with your favorite language, right? Or your native language. So they didn't want to put it all in English and then people wanting it to be in French, other wanted it to be in German, other maybe want it to be in Arabic. So you get to customize your deck to any language that you want, and he gives you ideas of what the words are, so you can just adapt those words to the deck and you'll have to write it. So it's going to take a bit of time in order for you to get it, right? So it took me around 20 minutes to build the whole deck, but it's not that bad. It's super simple. You just write on it. So you get that, you get the box, which is ungimmicked as well. And then you also get, he gives you a prediction card, but you can do whatever you want. He gives you some additional ones, right? For kind of like a gag, because you can do it kind of a gag where you remove it and you tell them this one card, what was your card? The Queen of Clubs. But then you may ask yourself, what if it says, look in your pocket? And then you remove from your pocket here a card and it would be like the Seven of Hearts, and you may be thinking, oh, what if it was look in your sock, and you remove from your sock and you remove a random card and it would be the Eight of Spades, for example. So you tell them, see, it's random things. It would never have worked. Only open the box would have worked because you chose a card, the Queen of Clubs. So he gives you some extra cards like these to do as like kind of a gag type revelation to play on your spectators' expectations of the trick. So that is provided to you as well. So that's everything that you get with your $30 purchase. Quite a lot, to be honest. Basically, you're paying $0 for the instructions. So yeah, because I don't want to tell you too much, but if you were to buy just this deck from Card Shark, it costs $30. So you're essentially getting all the extra little props and the idea for free by just purchasing one of these decks, which is very, very cool and nice. So having said that, what is the difficulty of the effect? As I mentioned, the tutorial is just 14 minutes long because the effect is that easy. It is self-working. It is super, super easy to do. I do know that with this camera, I struggled a bit because I didn't want to like flash and show, because a lot of the times, right, since the angle is low, I have to angle things like this in a weird position for it to show normal. But in a real life scenario, I've performed this. There's nothing to fear. You just handle it like a normal deck. It is super easy to do. There's no memory work, no slides. There's nothing that you have to do in order for this to work. It works itself. It literally works itself, okay? So super easy to do. Wanting to know about practicality? What is the practicality of this? Well, you're going to have to carry around your deck of cards and your prediction, right? So just the deck and the prediction. The deck is only used for this effect, obviously. So you can't really do any other effects with the deck. So it's a one deck trick. So you will have to carry the deck and the card. But apart from that, you don't really need to carry anything else. On top of that, in regards to angles, the angles are pretty good. Standard angles, like if you were just handling a normal deck of cards, that's the angles that you have. You don't really have to be scared of anything. Just basically you could do this 360, there's no problem. The reset of the trick is instant. I literally reset the trick in front of you and you probably didn't even notice the trick was reset. It's an instant reset. Examinability, the card that comes up is examinable, but the deck is not. So you cannot hand out the deck to the spectator because they will find out how it works. So the deck is not examinable, but the way in which the routine works, seeing how fair it is, there's no forces, whatever. It's just take a card, look at it, super fair. Nothing that you would want to examine. Then name any two cards that you want, one red, one black. They name any two very clearly. You show that you place those exact two cards on the table. They show open the box and you reveal. So super, super easy. There's nothing really that should be examined, but if you're scared that someone would want to examine it, they cannot, so that's important to keep in mind. In terms of needing a table, you do not need a table for this. You can do this standing up, there's no problem. You just have someone hold the card box from the start of the trick. You do the effect, No need for a table or for anything else as well. So pretty self-contained, nothing really complicated, easy, instant reset, easy to do, don't have to carry much. So yeah, very practical as well. In terms of where do you perform, so where would you perform this? You could perform this pretty much anywhere. I could see this being used in kind of a parlor corporate show. I could see these being used on Zoom. I could see this being used close up from table to table. There's no issue. However, this was one last thing that I wanted to mention regarding practicality, but it does apply here as well, is that it is only one outcome. So there is only one outcome to the trick. However, if you want to buy extra decks, you can make different outcomes. So if you want to go, once you know how this works, you can just buy the deck and then customize it yourself. You can make different outcomes if you own other decks, but with just one deck, there is just one outcome. So that's important to mention as well. It's always going to be, in my instance, the Queen of Clubs, and always going to be, in my instance, open the box, okay? But you can make it anything. You can make it, he gives you an idea that he uses where it's look under glass, and under the specter's glass, there's a card that appeared and it's their selected card, right? So there's variations and ideas that you can do, but you're gonna need extra decks to do that. So it's always going to be with one deck, one result. So if you go from table to table, keep in mind that's always going to be the same result and the same card selected every single time, okay? But apart from that, yes, it can be performed table hopping, restaurant, club, bars, stage, non-stage, wherever. You can pretty much perform this anywhere you perform your card magic. So having said all of this, what are the positives and negatives of activity by Nikolas Mavresis? So some of the negatives are: 1, the deck is not inspectable. 2, it is always going to be the same exact outcome. So you do have to keep that in mind. And these are honestly the only 2 negatives that I have with this product. What are the positives? 1, you're basically getting the effect for free. If you were to buy one of these decks, as I mentioned from Card Shark, it costs you the same price as this entire effect. So might as well just buy this effect, have the deck. If you want to use the deck for something else because you don't like how this works, well, you got the deck and you got an extra trick that you can make in the future. So it's very well priced. It's very cool. The instructions are good. The props that you get are good. The fact you get to customize it to your own language is great. The fact you get to choose your ending revelation as well. You're not obliged to do the in the box one. As I mentioned, you can do whatever you want, is really cool as well. And it's just a very cool type, kind of relaxed routine. This is like a really laid back routine. You know, no pressure, since it's easy to do, it's easy to understand. It's just a fun little piece that you're doing to someone, which is nice as well. So having said that, would I recommend this to someone, and what would I rate it out of 10? So as I just mentioned, this is a more laid back, fun routine, which means that this is not the end all trick. You know, if you have to perform one trick to book a gig, this will probably not be it. If you have to do one trick for the rest of your life, this is probably not be it. However, if you want a fun, relaxed trick that you could do at a moment's notice without worry that it's going to fail, that is going to, and a trick that's basically going to be enjoyable to perform for you and to watch for the specter, this is definitely one that you're going to like. It's a worker, instant reset, and you're able to do it from table to table. I think it's a very, very, very good effect. I will be using it, not all the time, but it's one of those effects, you know, that you put in your carrying case, and at certain points, you're just going to be like, you know, this is the type of crowd that I want to do this effect for. I think it's going to play well. You're going to remove it and perform it. So yes, I think it's a very good effect. I'm giving it an 8.25 on 10. It is very fun to do. It's a very impactful, very direct trick, very fast, with little to no limitations. And yeah, that's all I have to say. So yes, I would recommend it, 8.25. If you have any questions regarding activity, leave them down below. If not, like and subscribe. And hopefully I see you in my next videos. Have a great one. And bye-bye.